Let's talk about Conservative Party drama in Alberta. Because the Progressive Conservative Party gets a relaunch in Alberta. Elections Alberta has confirmed it, that the Progressive Conservative Association of Alberta's name has been reserved, looking to launch a new Conservative Party in Alberta. So Peter Guthrie and Scott Sinclair, who used to sit with the UCP, and then they didn't like what was happening with the UCP, and so they got told to go bye-bye. They've joined forces, along with some other people, I'm sure, to relaunch the Progressive Conservatives in Alberta. Now, first, you have to reserve a party name. See down there? Progressive Conservative Association of Alberta. What the fuck is this one? Alberta Prosperity Party. That sounds familiar. Because Guthrie and Sinclair don't believe that the UCP truly reflects conservative ideology in Alberta. And what does Danny think of that?
Well, elections law makes it clear that new parties can't use the name of the former legacy parties of the UCP. And the reason for that is to avoid confusion with voters. So we expect the law to be followed, and we're going to be following up with Elections Alberta accordingly. But
we expect the law to be followed, not by us, but by everybody else. Heaven forbid that there's confusion. But here's the thing. The name of the parties can be used. They just have to come up again to be used. And then they have to be reserved by the people that want to use it.
Opportunity to be able to register that name, but they didn't do it. And it became public. And an astute Albertan picked that up, had it for 2 years. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there was a renewal that needed to take place on May 27th, in which we obtained that. So I guess they missed the ball on this one and swung and missed.
There's a pattern in Alberta of radical groups dropping the ball, swinging and missing. Attention to detail. So the name came up, and an astute Albertan, I think we should start a pool. See who that astute Albertan was. Anyhow, they believe they're all on the up and up. I guess we'll wait for Elections Alberta to make that decision, unless Danny decides to just pass legislation, which she's prone to do. But here's the history in Alberta. The Progressive Conservative Party existed in Alberta from 1905 to 2020. Yes, I know the UCP was formed and it won in 2019. But the party existed until 2020, to wrap up their bills and all that. And the UCP formed when the Wild Rose, which was Danny's until she crossed the floor, and the PCs merged together to defeat the NDP. So they joined forces, and then they did. But the ideologies behind the two conservative parties really haven't changed. You have some wackadoodles, like we see right now. And then you have more, I'm going to say, reasonable progressive conservatives, if there's such a thing. But they had to join for the greater good. Now things aren't so good. I mean, look, we've got this Alberta Republican Party that's making claims that they can pull some MLAs over their way. Now this Progressive Conservative Association of Alberta, which surely is going to pull people their way. Where does that leave the UCP? Kind of stuck in the middle. Either way, there's fractions happening. And the merger between the UCP and the Wild Rose was to regain power. There's a lot of scandal happening with the PCs. Danny had already crossed the floor. Like a lot of things had happened, which led people to vote NDP. They didn't want that happening. So they merged together for a conservative superpower. And then remember, Brian Jean was supposed to be the leader of this UCP. And then Jason Kenney came in and he kicked Brian Jean's ass. How is still up for debate. But then people didn't like Kenney anymore. His caucus wanted him gone. Oh look, Guthrie was one of those people that wanted Kenney gone. Back then, he thought that public opinion continues to wane and we may be at a point where this party cannot be salvaged. Jesus Christ, Peter, if you thought it was bad then. So there was a leadership review, because Kenney wasn't going out without a fight. And he won by 51%, but still decided to leave, because he didn't believe he had the confidence of his party. It's funny, he left at 51%, but yet Danny took over at 53%. I'll just leave that there. But when all this ousting was happening, this is what Kenney had to say. The lunatics are trying to take over the asylum. We know exactly who he's talking about. The David Parkers of the world. All these little fractions that have now broken off. The ones who think we can be a 51st state.
I will not let that happen. I will not let this mainstream conservative party become an agent for extreme, hateful, intolerant, bigoted, and crazy views.
Well, it happened anyway. It hurts my soul to say that Jason Kenney was right. But Jason Kenney was right. Because that's what the UCP is now. Just hateful and crazy. Look, when you're against a rock and a hard place, it makes people do weird things. Agree with people that they normally wouldn't agree with. Break off into other radical groups. We see it all the time. Wouldn't it absolutely be poetic justice if the Progressive Conservative Association of Alberta gets approved and Ken Babe comes back? Maybe I haven't had enough coffee yet. But like, I'm a petty bitch. That's something I would have done. Bide my time. Because you knew what was going to happen. There were going to be breaks. People are going to start eating each other's faces. So much scandal. Corruption. Anyway. But Guthrie and Sinclair have basically said this is not the party that I signed up for. It's not where I believe we should be going. So really, Dan did them a favor. Because she's just pushing through whatever the fuck she wants. Whether it's what the UCP ran on, whether it's what MLAs actually want. Because in Dannyland, as much as she said that there's open discussion and debate, you either agree with her, or you shut the fuck up, or you get out.
I think the message is that we're making it a very municipally dread.
No need to correct yourself. It's dread. That's when she was talking about the Alberta Police Force that they didn't run on, that not a lot of people want, but she's pushing it through anyway. Dread. But that's an example. She's doing whatever the fuck she wants to do. And not everybody's liking that right now. Danny really is stuck, because progressives don't really like her. The radical wackadoos don't really like her. And if the Alberta Republican Party can actually pull MLAs, and if the Progressive Conservative Party can now pull MLAs, where does that leave Danny? Is she going to cross the floor again? Is she going to go back to private sector? Disappear forever? I don't know. But it's going to split the vote, whatever happens, which is good for the NDP. But here's my advice. When the Conservatives start fighting, eating each other, let it happen. Stay out of it. You all just talk about the great things that you can do for this province. Let them fight it out. Will the Progressive Conservatives take votes away from the NDP? Maybe. Because right now with a two-party system, because let's be real, it's a two-party system in Alberta. Potential Conservatives that don't want to vote for the wackadoos might have voted for the NDP. Who knows? Because you could paint a pine cone blue in Alberta and it would still get votes. But this is why, if the cons split, which we've seen before, it's almost like a cycle, provincially and federally. Remember reform? Look at where the cons are now. The NDP focus needs to be on their own business. Stay out of that business. That business will take care of itself. I'm just happy that we are hopefully in the find out phase of Danny's reign of terror. I hope splits do happen. I hope there's floor crossing. Because as much turmoil as Alberta is in right now, and I hate to say it can't get any worse, but at least this would be fun to watch. I'm sure Danny's shitting her pants right now. She's got a lot going on. Her backers no longer back her. She's got scandal and corruption everywhere. Fractions within her party. Lawsuits. And if this is the karma phase, I wonder how she's feeling.
Scorcher.
I love a good soundbite.